the president of the GJA, Mr. Dwumfour, will be addressing us. But before we do that, we would bring to the podium the General Secretary of the GJA, Mr. Kofi Eboa. Let me introduce to you the people who are at the high table right now. From the extreme end, you have Audrey Dekalu. She is the treasurer, national treasurer for the GJA. Next to Audrey, national organizing secretary, is Dominic Klonji. And of course, the president is working on his notes, as you can see, Mr. Dwumfour. And then, of course, the general secretary himself. I think I did introduce myself earlier. Rebecca Ekpe is my name, Public Affairs Officer of the GJA. The Vice President is not here with us. She's on another assignment currently. We're invited to the podium now for a prelude to the President speaking to us. The General Secretary of the GJA, Mr. Kofi Eboa. A round of applause, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to everyone. And since we are still in the month of love, I wish you all happy love month.
Happy talking.
So, as my dear sister Becky indicated, today we have invited you here for an update on earlier communications we have made to you. You may recall that at the beginning of the year, specifically on 22nd January, we had held our first press conference. And at that meeting, we put a few issues across. And we think it is important we are updating you on those issues, and then also use the opportunity to address other emerging issues. So that is what we are going to do. And mainly, we'll be looking at the Ahmad Suale case. You may recall in our media press conference, we had indicated that if by March ending, we hadn't seen or heard anything concrete, we'll be heading towards the ECOWAS Community Court of Justice to seek a redress there, together with the case of Latif Idrisu. The President has some updates for us in that regard, and we are believing that the demands we put across will be heeded too. Otherwise, we'll be left with no choice than to go to that external or international forum to seek a redress. You know, the cases of Ahmad Suale and Latif Idrisu have been hanging for far too long. And in respect of Ahmad Suale, the international community is very much interested in that case. And if you've been observing and tracking, every year the reports on Ghana, as far as the World Press Freedom Index is concerned, there's always a mention of Ahmad Suale. It tells you how at the international front they are watching the space here, how we are addressing the issue. You may also recall that we had also spoken about some attacks on our colleagues from the multimedia group, MULTIMEDIA, which happened last month. And then also we know about the case of Erastus Asaridonko. This happened last year. Okay, President again has some good news for us, or some news to share on those issues. You know, this administration, we have made it clear that we will not countenance any attack on a member of the association or a journalist. So last year we had done a lot of work we had blacklisted some politicians for attacking the media, but it is something that is not stopping. And as we say in our local parlance, once the predator keeps chasing, and the prey must keep running. Okay, so we will also continue to address these issues as and when they emerge. Recently, there have been some cases of assault, and President will address them too. You may recall during the Council of State elections, there were one case at the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council, and 4 journalists were involved. It is a wonder that we had national elections, and we didn't hear any attacks on the media on a general note. Then this small Council of State election, and we are being attacked. Okay, we are going to address those issues. Much recently, we also have reports of some attacks in the northeast region. Okay, and 2 of our colleagues were also attacked. And the President is also going to address them. Sometimes these attacks are only meant to put fear in us, to intimidate us, to stop us from doing our job. But this is not something that is going to cow us into not doing our job. And we will do whatever it takes to defend members of the association. Then President will also be addressing some national issues, and it is not always that we want to be looking at issues about ourselves, but sometimes we also need to look at issues broadly. You know, the mandate we have as the media is very broad. They say we are watchdogs of society. Okay, so we don't only watch over the media space, but we also have the mandate to watch over the space of national affairs. So what we have decided to do this year is that from time to time we will pick issues one after the other to address them, believing that the powers that be will take note to address them. So today we are going to address one such national concern. And also, sometimes we are talking about media freedom, but we tend to lose sight of media responsibility. Freedom goes with responsibility. So we don't always will come here to talk about our lives, our freedoms, but we also will address responsibility issues. So if we are not doing our job well, we don't have to sit down for people to point them to us. We need to do introspection. We need to be able to point out the issues ourselves. And that is what we call self-regulation. So you are regulating yourself and not waiting for an external authority or force to come and tell you what to do. So when we come across anything untoward professionally, we will also address them. Sometimes concerned citizens have been reaching out to us. Okay, and today one of such issues we are going to address came from somebody who is so much concerned, and we have looked at the issue, the concern he raised, we have discussed it, and we think it is a matter we must address so that we are keeping the sanctity of the profession. So we'll be doing that as well. But just before presidents will come, let me highlight something to do with our safety and security. Okay, and it is very much important. Our senior colleague, Samsela Dianene, has been emphasizing this. Okay, we don't know when we may come under attack. Okay, sometimes you may think what you are doing is not harmful. But the nature of our work is said that everything you are doing, somebody may not be happy about it. Even if you are in the studio, okay, somebody may not be happy. Okay, so every time you want to take some precautions. So what something has been advising is that whenever you come under attack, the first thing you want to do is to preserve evidence. Okay, and many a time we want to rush to the media to put our stories there. Okay, but we in the executive, we have made it a point that we will go beyond issuing press statements, organizing press conferences, to even take legal action. But when you go to court, the only language they understand is evidence. Without evidence, there's nothing we can do. And sometimes you guys are asking us, so what are we doing beyond the press statement? But you can also not go to court if you don't have evidence. So as soon as you come under attack, and please do well to preserve evidence, do well to report the matter to the police, get a medical form, go to hospital, then you want to preserve the evidence. Don't go home and come back, okay? Because, for example, you've been attacked, you sustained a cut on your forehead, but you don't go to report the case immediately. Then the following day, you are going to the police station. And if you take the offender to court, his or a lawyer may come and say that, oh, this attack, you were going home and you fell into a gutter because you didn't take immediate steps. Okay, so it is always important we are paying attention to those little things. Okay. Then also, sometimes what we have observed and the concerns we have is that sometimes you are in a team, your colleague is under attack, and we just abandon the person. We need to move as a team. The only reason the soldiers are strong, the police are strong, is that they come as a team. So we should be each other's brother and keeper, so that we are covering each other's back anytime we become attacked. I think I will end it here, so the President will come and take the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the General Secretary, for that insight into issues about safety of journalists. It's very, very important that we keep our safety issues and wear our safety hats in the discharge of our duties. I think that he said it all. We always hear people tell us no story is bigger than our lives, and we must live to tell the story. So in our anticipation and anxiety to get the news told and the story told, we still have to make sure that we stay alive to be able to continue telling the story. Thank you very much, the General Secretary. Very shortly, we'll have the President address us more into details while we're here. And let me remind everyone that we're streaming live on our Facebook page, the Ghana Journalists Association. We're also live on GBC News. We are live on, I believe, TV3. No, actually, we are live on Joy News and all other platforms that have joined us today for this all-important press conference. Thank you very much for joining us. Very shortly, we'll be hearing from the president of the Ghana Journalists Association, and I'm very much sure that a lot of you will be very excited to hear more about what the national issue is, despite the issues of Ahmad Suale and the others. And like has been said, and I will reiterate, it's very important that we are part of the national conversation. After all, we're an aspect of the, they call us the fourth estate, and we are an arm of government. Besides the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature, we have the media. And in fact, the media of them all, for me, if you ask me, is the most important. Because without the media, everything else that is done within the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature, we don't see it. We tell the story. And I'm sure you all will agree with me that when it happened in Parliament, the media was there to tell the story. Thank you very much for staying true to your call. And we'll invite to the podium the indefatigable president of the Ghana Journalists Association, Mr. Dwumfour, to address us. Mr. Dwumfour, over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, America. Suale. Thank you, Mr. Dwumfour, the Secretary. Job done, and I hope today I can see that can see a massive media presence here. And yes, I want to appreciate the team and also the media here for attaching seriousness to our own issue. The way the podium is full of cameras, I don't even have where to put my statement. But I'm not saying that. I know you guys don't come and tell me, come and change this one again. You know the way you asked me to change it. So we'll manage. Thank you so much, and good afternoon to you all.
Good afternoon.
And I must indicate that we are live on Joy News, and then GTV, Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Let me see news here. And other major platforms. Members of the National Executive of the GJA, colleague media practitioners, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon to you all, once again.
Good afternoon.
On behalf of the National Executive of the GJA, I wish to thank you for honoring our invitation. Today, we have invited you here to update you on some concerns raised at the beginning of the year, as alluded by the General Secretary. Recent attacks on journalists and some matters of national concern or interest. We hope the concerns and matters we raise today and in the future will receive the needed attention to enhance the growth and development of our dear country. Cases of Ahmad Suale and others. Colleagues, you may recall that in our maiden press conference for this year held on 22nd January, we expressed deep concern about the delay in finding the killers of Ahmad Suale. We indicated that, given the fast eroding trust and confidence in the police in respect of investigation, arrest, and prosecution of suspects involved in the murder of Ahmad Suale, the GJA may seek redress in international forums. In that regard, we served the notice that if by the end of March 2025, the Ghana Police Service has not come out with something concrete on the investigation, arrest, and prosecution of suspects in the murder case, we shall proceed to the Economic Community of West Africa States, ECOWAS, that is in short ECOWAS, Community Court of Justice, to seek resolution of this matter. We also indicated that we would rather take similar action for Lateef Idrisi for similar reasons. In the case of Ahmad Suale, our international partners, including the Federation of African Journalists, FAJ, and the International Federation of Journalists, IFJ, have also indicated their readiness to pursue justice for the investigative journalists at other international forums. Colleagues, I am here to report to you that just yesterday, I had a meeting with the Inspector General of Police, Dr. Akufu Dampare, to discuss this and other matters. The IGP gave me heartwarming assurances in dealing with these issues. And to that extent, we wish to highly commend him. While holding the assurances of the IGP in good faith, we still remain faithful to our demands, and that if we don't see or hear anything concrete from the police after the end of March 2025, we shall proceed to the ECOWAS Community Court of Justice, find justice for Suale and Lateef. Once again, we urge the Inspector General of Police, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, and the President to take keen interest in these cases. I must admit that the IGP assured us of his full cooperation going forward and promised to work closely with the GJA and its regional commanders in the regions where some journalists have been attacked to ensure that the issues raised with him receive prompt response and reaction from the police. Attacks against journalists. Colleagues, in our maiden press conference, we also addressed the barbaric attack on amistytv of the Multimedia Group Limited by a mob of illegal small-scale miners operating in the offense shelter Belt Forest Reserve. amistytv, while leading a joint news team to cover a police operation to clamp down on the activities of the illegal miners, was nearly killed by the mob. We also record how Erastus Asari Donko, another journalist of the Multimedia Group Limited, was brutally assaulted by small-scale miners last year. As we speak, 1 month after the attack on amistytv and 1 year after Erastus was brutally attacked, the police have not yet prosecuted the perpetrators to ensure justice, with the attack on amistytv as the first case of assault against journalists in 2025. The count became rapid when 6 journalists were assaulted within a space of 1 week in the month of February. 4 of the attacks occurred in Kumasi in the Ashanti region and 2 at Walewale in the Northeast region. It is very sad to note that in the month of love, when people are demonstrating love to their dear ones with red gifts, our colleagues who were in the line of duty were made to see red blood as reward for serving Mother Ghana. It is also disheartening to note that just about 50 days into the second John Mahama administration, we have witnessed even 7 cases of assault against journalists. And I stress on that it is also disheartening to know that just about 50 days into the second John Mahama administration, we have witnessed 7 cases of assault against journalists. This is unprecedented. Colleagues, in the Kumasi incident, the 4 journalists were assaulted on February 11, 2025, while covering the election of the Ashanti region representative on the Council of State. The election took place at the Regional Coordinating Council, the office of the regional minister, Ashanti regional minister, who is also the chairman of the Regional Security Council, in short, RECSEC. Strangely, some thugs managed to invade the premises to disrupt the election process and viciously assault the 4 journalists. Colleagues, the GJA Ashanti region assisted the victim to go to hospital and report the matter to the police. Our intelligence suggests that the thugs and criminals who assaulted the journalists are supporters or sympathizers of the ruling National Democratic Congress, NDC. Unfortunately, no arrest or prosecution have been made. The mind-boggling question is, if RECSEC cannot provide security in its own backyard, how can it provide security elsewhere? This only sends worrying signals that Ghana is heading towards a state of anarchy. It appears there's no law and order, and there's no security in the country. That is most unfortunate. Colleagues, in the Waliwale's case, journalist Alassane Dokurugu of Asasi Radio and journalist Tahiru Ibrahim of ZAR Multimedia were assaulted by military personnel while covering an incident involving the certain ablaze of a bus at Nelerigu Junction. The incident occurred in the presence of the police, but they neither protected the journalists nor arrested the perpetrators, as the police are mandated to do by law. We once again call on the Ghana Police Service, as promised by the IGP, to bring the perpetrators to face justice. We will not end there. We also call on the Military High Command to investigate this incident and sanction the wayward military personnel. The assault of the 2 journalists at Waliwale and other incidents of lawlessness and impunity across the country fortify our belief that Ghana is heading to a state of anarchy, and people of good conscience must resist and halt that trend. We also intend to petition the Military High Command over the Waliwale incident, since it involves a soldier. And we trust in the competences. We trust in the competence of General Thomas upon Prepara, the Chief of the Defense Staff, to do the needful to bring his boy to order. Colleagues, there were some disturbing issues that attended the Waliwale incident, which need to be addressed frontally. First, after the journalists had produced their ID cards to establish their identity, the soldiers allegedly asked why they, that's the journalists, were not wearing branded jackets. We wish to make this clear that in as much as wearing a branded jacket may be desirable for journalists in their field of work, even for their safety and security, not and we dare say it does not in any way whatsoever warrant assaults. It is also the duty of a soldier or police, our men and women in uniform, to tell journalists the attire to wear as clearance for discharging their constitutional watchdog mandate. Their job is to protect journalists and civilians from harm, not to subject them to harm. And their mandate is to assist journalists and civilians, not to assault them. The second issue is the assertion made by the security personnel that the journalists could not cover the incident because they, that the security personnel, were undertaking an operation. That is absolutely false. We are not aware of any law that shields security personnel from media scrutiny in the public space. In fact, there are many instances where the courts have ruled in favor of media coverage of the activities of security personnel in the public space. So for the police and military to operate with such mindset is tantamount to lawlessness. Colleagues, we wish to take this opportunity to appeal to one of our own, senior member of this fraternity, the President of the Republic of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama, to take a personal interest in these cases as the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces and ensure that the perpetrators are arrested, arraigned, and punished for their crimes. In making this appeal, we remind the President of the commitment he made to the media and the nation on 7 July 2024 at the Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel during a media engagement. On that occasion, I, on behalf of the GJA and the media fraternity, asked President Mahama, then flag bearer of the NDC, about his thoughts on the privatization of the state-owned media and assault against media practitioners. The president said he was against, yes, the president said once again, he was against both instances and pledged to promote the interests of the media at all times. This is the time we expect the president, who is one of us, to redeem his pledge and to share in the plight of journalists. We shall continue to remind him of his assuring words. We hope he will not give us cause to believe those words were mere rhetoric. Undesirable media practices. Colleagues, we do not always cry about negative treatment against media practitioners. We also decry negative media practices, both with a view to ensuring free and responsible media. Our attention has been drawn to one of such negative media practices, which we wish to address promptly. It is about the designation of the midday news on Angel FM. They call it orgasm news. We think using the word orgasm to christen the midday news defiles decency in journalism. We urge the management of Angel FM to be positively innovative and find an angelic name for the midday news. Taking counsel from 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 23. All things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. All things are lawful, but not all things edify. American Standard Version. The management of Angel FM ought to appreciate the mission of angels. They bring good news, not orgasm news. Issues of national concern. Colleagues, in our maiden press conference for this year, we justified the mandate of the GJA to address critical issues of national concern and not just those bordering on the media. We made reference to our broad watchdog mandate under Article 162, Clause 5 of the 1992 Constitution as the basis for justification. As the basis for such justification. Proceeding from that tangent, one critical national issue today is the high cost of locally produced chocolate. As you can see, we've demonstrated some here. There has always been a clear call on Ghanaian and other nationals resident in the country to consume made in Ghana products. There is also a good reason for renaming Valentine's Day as National Chocolate Day in Ghana and dedicating the month of February for chocolate consumption, the month of love. We are all expected to show love with chocolate to our dear ones on Chocolate Day. Is it not the case? Yeah. But the price of locally produced chocolate is too high and way beyond the pockets of the middle and lower classes of society. For instance, one bar of golden tree, one bar of golden tree chocolate is sold at wholesale price for 25 Ghana cedis at the cocoa board shop in Accra. In other shops, the same bar of chocolate is sold at retail price for 30 Ghana cedis, while on the street it is sold for 40 Ghana cedis. How many Ghanaians can afford this with the current minimum wage of 18.15 pesos?
To pizza.
They cannot afford this. But since their taste buds are active and they may crave for chocolate, the reasonable thing for them to do is to resort to foreign products at the detriment of our national economy. Why can't Ghana, the second leading cocoa producer in the world, produce chocolate at affordable prices for Ghanaians to enjoy the fruit of their labor and the gift from their maker? We urge the Cocoa Board and our very good friend and brother who is now leading the chat, Comrade and Senior Randy Abe, and Cocoa Processing Company to do something about this. Since we are still in the chocolate month, the month of love. Long live press freedom in Ghana. Long live GJA. Long live Ghana. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you. Thank you, President of GJA, Mr. Dwumfour. I think we got that message. We got that message right.